Welcome. This is going to be a review of the Jowo Omniflex Nib. So the Jowo Omniflex Nib is a steel nib, comes in somewhere around $25, $30 or so. And the aesthetics are pretty cool. Like, you can check out the tines, those kind of cool little flares off the tip there. They look really neat. They do have some practical use as well in assisting with the flex, but they just look really cool. And also, I like this dark finish on it. That really helps make this stand out. It's got some nice engraving as well. And it does say Omniflex right down the front there. I am a fan of flex nibs and went ahead and bought this because I was already far enough down the rabbit hole. I was making an order and I just tossed this in the cart for an extra 25 bucks or so. I figured I could review it, and it is going to a holiday contest winner, and we did a giveaway here as we do a couple times a year on the channel, so stick with us. So I got this flex nib fully knowing that it probably wouldn't live up to my expectations of a flex nib because I've already got some really nice flex nibs. Magna Carta 600, I've had a Pilot Falcon, I've had a lot of awesome, even custom flex nibs. So for $25, I knew this was not gonna, live up to any of those nice flex nibs. But for $25, this thing is a surprisingly good daily writer. Let's get into it. All this was written with the Jowo Omniflex Nib. Again, it's a steel nib. It's a very pleasant daily writer. It's very smooth, and at least in this application, on this particular pen and feed, it was a very wet writer too. As far as flex goes, it can flex. It's got some line variation. It's noticeable. It's nice. A little bit of icing on top. However, as far as a flex pen actually goes, the flex is definitely, just so-so. But I knew that going into it, and for the price, I wasn't really worried about that. So while this didn't really shine as a flex pen, this really did surprise me. It turned out to be a great daily writer because what little bit of flex they did impart to this nib gives it a remarkable bounce. A very nice bounce for a steel nib. It almost feels I'll probably get some hate for saying this, but it's bouncy enough for a steel nib that if you didn't tell me it was a steel nib, I might actually confuse this for a gold nib because it's got so much bounce. Now, if you didn't tell me it was a flex nib, I wouldn't try and flex it and wouldn't know that's why. But for a steel nib at 25 bucks, this thing has a really nice feel for an everyday writer. All right, so conclusion, not the best flex nib. If you're going down the flex rabbit hole and you're just getting into flexes, then I could maybe see getting this nib. If you are already into flexes or you've experienced nice flexes, definitely don't go down this route. I even struggle to say if you want to get into flexes, use this because this one takes so much effort and pressure to actually, give it that down flex. If I put that much pressure on my Mag 600, I don't know, man. I might even, do some permanent damage to that nib. So if you learn on this nib as a flex and then go to nice gold flexes, you are kind of, oh man, how do I describe? It's like learning to drive an 18-wheeler and then getting in a Corvette and trying to go around the racetrack. It's like two different feels, two different things. You're not going to do well learning how to drive a race car by learning on an 18-wheeler. And that's kind of what this is in that sense. But it was a surprisingly great daily writer. I guess we'll say a daily driver in that same kind of parlance of our analogy here. So this thing actually really is very pleasant to write with when you're not trying to flex because it does have a little bit of bounce to it. So, and again, the aesthetics are top notch. I love the engraving. I love how the tines kind of have this separated part up there that helps with the flex a little bit. It just looks really cool. And I like how they gave it this really dark, almost like gunmetal black type finish. So I forget what it's called, but I really like the aesthetics of this nib. Absolutely. All right, so should you get one? If you've got enough pens laying around or nib holders, things that you can just kind of play around with, and you don't mind dropping 25 bucks, this could be a really fun little writer that turns into something you grab on the regular. If you are looking for a flex pen, don't really get this nib, I would have to say. It can flex, but it doesn't really do so well, and it's not imparting good flex skills should you move up to nicer flex nibs. But hey, like I said, I knew that going into it, and for 25 bucks, I wanted to play around. Do be wary though, because I did have some issues with compatibility. I couldn't put it on a couple of different Jowo housings and feeds, even though I'd said on the website I should be able to, and that's why I ended up just kind of finally sticking it in this Mahone C1. So compatibility issues could be hit or miss, but if you've got a bunch of pens and nib holders laying around, give this thing a shot. 25 bucks, you might be pleasantly surprised. I know I was. Thank you guys very much for watching this video. Please leave a comment. Have you ever used this nib? What do you think about this nib? And we will see you soon. As always, may your journey lead to your own personal serenity.